Some mornings change a family forever. This one started like any other, until a dog refused to move. No barking, no growling, no aggression, just a German shepherd standing in front of a front door, blocking a little girl from leaving, and what everyone thought was disobedience turned out to be something far more devastating. Before we begin, take a second to like this video, subscribe, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. These stories travel farther than you think. Now, let's go back to that morning. The alarm rang at 6:42 a.m. Not loud, just loud enough to pull Emma Callahan out of sleep. She lay still for a moment, staring at the ceiling, listening to the quiet hum of the house. The early autumn air pressed softly against the windows, cool and calm. Outside, the street was still half asleep, wrapped in fog and silence. Another school morning, another routine. She slipped out of bed, careful not to wake her husband, Daniel, and padded down the hallway. The smell of coffee soon filled the kitchen as she moved automatically, her body knowing the steps even if her mind lagged behind. That was when she noticed the silence. No nails clicking on tile, no soft tail thumping against the wall, no familiar shadow following her from room to room. "Buddy," she called softly. Nothing. That was unusual. Buddy, their 6-year-old German shepherd, never missed a morning. He was always there, sitting near the kitchen doorway, watching Emma pack lunches or waiting patiently for crumbs that never came. She frowned and poured cereal into a bowl. "Buddy?" she called again, louder this time. Still nothing. Upstairs, a door creaked open. "Moom?" a small voice called. Emma turned to see Lily standing at the top of the stairs, backpack already on, hair slightly messy, socks mismatched the way they always were. "Morning, sweetheart," Emma said, forcing a smile. "Go brush your teeth, breakfast is almost ready." Lily nodded and turned back toward her room, and that's when everything stopped. Buddy stood in the hallway, right in front of Lily's bedroom door, perfectly still. His body was positioned sideways, blocking the doorway completely. His ears were alert but not raised. His tail hung low, not tucked, not wagging, just still. Lily tried to step around him. Buddy shifted, not aggressively, just enough. "Buddy?" Lily said, confused. "Move. I'm going to be late." Buddy didn't move. He looked at her, not at her face but at her chest, then her legs, then back to her face. Slow, focused, intent. "Buddy, come on," Lily said, giggling nervously as she tried again. This time Buddy stepped forward. He gently pressed his body against her legs. A barrier. Emma appeared at the bottom of the stairs just in time to see it. "Buddy, what are you doing?" she asked. The dog didn't look at her. He was watching Lily, closely, too closely. Daniel came out of the bedroom, adjusting his shirt. "What's going on?" "Buddy won't let Lily leave her room," Emma said, trying to laugh it off. "He's being weird." Daniel crouched. "Hey boy, move." Buddy didn't move. Daniel snapped his fingers. "Buddy," command. Still nothing. That's when Emma felt it. That subtle shift. That tightening in her chest that had nothing to do with impatience and everything to do with instinct. Because Buddy wasn't acting stubborn. He wasn't excited. He wasn't playful. He looked afraid, not panicked, not frantic. Afraid in a quiet, controlled way, as if he was holding the line against something no one else could see. Lily sighed dramatically. "Dad, I'm going to miss the bus." She tried to step forward again. Buddy lowered his head. Just a little. Not a growl, not a bark, but a sound came from his chest. Low, restrained, warning. Daniel froze. "Buddy," he said slowly. Emma's heart began to race. "Lily," Emma said gently. "Stay still." Lily obeyed, her eyes wide now. Buddy moved closer, pressing his chest against her knees, nudging her back toward the room. Protective, intentional, deliberate. "What is wrong with him?" Daniel whispered. And that was the moment Emma realized something terrifying. Buddy wasn't stopping Lily from going to school. He was stopping her from leaving the room. Emma stepped closer, lowering herself to Lily's level. "Sweetheart, do you feel okay?" Lily shrugged. "I guess. Any pain? Dizzy? Sick?" "No." Lily paused. "My stomach feels funny." Buddy's ears twitched. His eyes locked onto Lily's face again. Emma swallowed hard. Daniel reached for Buddy's collar. The dog didn't growl, didn't snap. He simply planted his feet. A living wall. And for the first time since they'd adopted him from the shelter 4 years earlier. Buddy disobeyed a direct command. Emma looked at Daniel. Daniel looked at Buddy. And both of them felt it. That cold realization creeping in. This wasn't behavior. This was communication. Buddy was trying to tell them something, something urgent, something that had nothing to do with school and everything to do with Lily. The house felt different the moment Emma made the decision to listen, not louder, not quieter, heavier. "Daniel," she said slowly, her voice steady but her hands trembling, "I don't think we should force this." Daniel hesitated, his fingers still gripping Buddy's collar. He had raised his voice only once, sharp and instinctive, but even that had changed nothing. The dog hadn't resisted violently, he hadn't shown aggression, he had simply refused, and that refusal was absolute. Lily stood frozen between them, her small fingers curled into the straps of her backpack. Her cheeks had gone pale, and a thin layer of sweat glistened at her hairline. "Mom," she whispered, "I feel weird." Buddy reacted instantly. His head snapped toward her chest, his nose flared. His breathing changed, slow, deliberate, controlled, like a professional focusing on a task. Emma's heart skipped. "Daniel," she said again, quieter now. "Let go." Daniel released the collar. Buddy didn't run, didn't bark, didn't celebrate. He pressed his body against Lily's legs again, this time gently guiding her backward step by step until her heels touched the carpet inside her bedroom. Only then did he sit, right in front of her, guarding. Emma knelt beside Lily, placing a hand on her daughter's forehead. Cold, not feverish, too cold. "Sweetheart, look at me," Emma said. Lily tried, but her eyes drifted, unfocused, like she was fighting sleep in the middle of the morning. "I'm tired," she murmured. "Can I lie down?" Daniel's stomach dropped. "She went to bed early last night," he said, trying to convince himself. She was fine. But Buddy wasn't convinced. He leaned forward, sniffing Lily's breath, then her neck, then her hands. Again and again, obsessive, targeted. The way he sniffed wasn't random, it followed a pattern. Emma noticed. "Why does he keep doing that?" she whispered. Daniel didn't answer, because suddenly he remembered something. 4 years earlier, a concrete building that smelled like disinfectant and sadness. Buddy had been quiet that day, not playful like the others, not desperate, just sitting in the back of the kennel, eyes alert, posture rigid, as if waiting for instructions that never came. The shelter worker had hesitated. "He's a good dog," she'd said carefully. "Very good, very intense." "Why was he surrendered?" Daniel had asked. The woman had paused. "His previous owner passed away," she said. Suddenly, that was all she'd said. At the time, it hadn't seemed important. Now, standing in their daughter's bedroom with a dog who refused to move, it felt terrifyingly relevant. Lily swayed. Emma reached out just in time as her daughter's knees buckled. "Lily!" Buddy barked. Once. Sharp, commanding. Daniel caught Lily as she sagged into his arms. Her eyes fluttered, her lips turned faintly blue. "Call 911, Emma said, her voice breaking. "Now!" Daniel didn't hesitate. He dropped to the floor with Lily, pressing the phone to his ear as the dispatcher answered. Buddy paced in a tight circle, whining softly, not frantic, not panicked, focused, as if he'd been here before. "Is she breathing?" the dispatcher asked. Daniel checked. "Yes, but shallow." Buddy barked again, louder this time, stepping closer, placing his nose directly under Lily's chin. Then something unexpected happened. Buddy pressed his paw gently, but firmly, against Lily's chest. Not pushing, not scratching, pressing, rhythmic, intentional. Emma stared. "Oh my God," she whispered. Buddy wasn't panicking. He was acting, responding. The dispatcher's voice sharpened. "Sir, I need you to keep her awake. Talk to her." Buddy barked again. Lily gasped. A weak sound, but real. Her chest rose deeper this time. Buddy's tail twitched once. Relief, but restrained. The sirens arrived fast. Too fast for a normal morning. When the paramedics rushed in, they froze for half a second at the sight. A German shepherd sitting perfectly still beside a pale child. Eyes locked. Body tense. Alert. "He won't let anyone near her," one of them said cautiously. "He's not aggressive," Emma pleaded. "He's protecting her." The lead paramedic knelt slowly. Buddy watched him, measured him. Then, after a moment, stepped back. Permission granted. That single movement told the paramedic everything. "This dog knows something," he murmured. They lifted Lily onto the stretcher. Buddy followed, not barking, not resisting, just watching, as if counting every breath. At the hospital, a doctor spoke quietly but urgently. "Your daughter experienced a sudden drop in blood oxygen," he said. "We suspect a neurological or cardiac episode." Emma's knees nearly gave out. "If she had gone to school," Daniel began. The doctor nodded grimly. "She may not have made it through the morning." Emma covered her mouth. Across the room, Buddy sat, watching, listening, and for the first time since that morning, he relaxed, just a little. The waiting room smelled like disinfectant and stale coffee. Emma sat rigid in the plastic chair, her hands clenched together so tightly her fingers ached. Across from her, Daniel stared at the floor, replaying the morning in his mind over and over again. If they had forced Lily to go, if they had pulled Buddy away, if they hadn't listened, the thought alone made Emma's stomach twist. Through the glass wall, she could see Lily lying on the hospital bed, monitors softly beeping, her small chest rising and falling in a rhythm that finally looked normal. Buddy sat beside the bed, not on it, not touching her, just close enough, watching. "That dog has training." A nurse entered the room quietly, her eyes immediately drawn to Buddy. "He hasn't moved," she said softly. "Has he been like this the whole time?" "Yes," Emma replied. "Since this morning." The nurse nodded slowly. "I've seen K9s act like that before." Daniel looked up sharply. "K9s? Police dogs," the nurse clarified. "Military dogs. Service animals." Emma shook her head. "Buddy isn't trained. We adopted him from a shelter." The nurse hesitated. "I don't think so," she said carefully. Emma felt a chill crawl up her spine. Later that afternoon, a pediatric neurologist joined them. She was calm, composed, but curious. "Before we discuss Lily's tests," the doctor said, "I want to ask about your dog." Emma stiffened. "What about him? How long have you had him?" 4 years. "Do you know anything about his history before the shelter?" Daniel shook his head. "They told us his previous owner passed away." The doctor exchanged a look with the nurse. "That may not be the full story," she said. Emma stepped into the hallway, phone shaking in her hand as she dialed the number of the shelter. It rang twice. Then a woman answered. "Green Valley Animal Rescue." "This is Emma Callahan," Emma said, her voice tight. "We adopted a German Shepherd from you 4 years ago. His name is Buddy." There was a pause. "Yes," the woman said slowly. "I remember him." Emma's heart pounded. "Why?" she asked. Another pause, longer this time. "We didn't think it would ever matter again," the woman said quietly. "But maybe it does." They told her everything. Buddy hadn't been surrendered because his owner died. He had been surrendered because his owner's child died. A little boy, 7 years old, collapsed suddenly at home. Buddy had tried to stop him from leaving his room that morning too. He barked, blocked the door, refused to move. The parents thought he was misbehaving. They locked him outside. The boy never made it to the hospital. After that day, Buddy changed. He became hyper-vigilant around children, protective, unmovable. The shelter didn't disclose it because families didn't want a dog that came with grief. Emma slid down the wall, tears streaming. "He remembered," she whispered. "He remembered everything." Back in Lily's room, the doctor reviewed test results. "She has an undiagnosed cardiac condition," the doctor explained. "It can cause sudden oxygen drops, especially under stress." Daniel's voice cracked. "She could have collapsed at school." "Yes," the doctor said, "alone." Emma turned to Buddy. "You knew," she whispered. "You smelled it. You heard it. You felt it." Buddy's ears flicked. He didn't look proud. He looked relieved. That evening, a hospital administrator entered the room. "There's been a discussion," she said carefully, "about Buddy." Emma's heart sank. "Given his behavior," the woman continued, "and Lily's condition, we believe his presence is beneficial." Emma exhaled a shaky breath. "But," the administrator added, "we also believe he may need formal evaluation." Daniel nodded. "Whatever it takes." Buddy lifted his head, alert again, as if he knew the fight wasn't over yet. The meeting was scheduled for the next morning. Emma didn't sleep, neither did Daniel. Buddy rested beside Lily's hospital bed, his body curved slightly inward, forming a quiet barrier between her and the rest of the world. Every time Lily shifted in her sleep, Buddy's head lifted. Every beep of the monitor made his ears twitch. He was still working, even now. At 8:07 a.m., a woman in a grey blazer knocked softly and entered the room, followed by a man holding a tablet. "I'm Karen Mills," the woman said, her voice professional but not unkind. "Hospital administration. This is Dr. Weber from Pediatric Compliance." Emma's chest tightened. Daniel stood. "What's this about?" Karen glanced briefly at Buddy, then back at them. "We need to talk about your dog." Buddy lifted his head, not aggressively, just alert. "We recognize that Buddy's behavior appears protective," Dr. Weber said, scrolling through his tablet, "but he's not a certified service animal." Emma's hands clenched. "He saved my daughter." "No one is disputing that," Karen said carefully. "But hospitals operate under regulations." Daniel's voice hardened. "So do families." Karen sighed. "There are concerns about liability." Emma laughed once, sharply. "Liability? Lily wouldn't be breathing if it weren't for him." Silence. Buddy stood. The letter arrived at 6:18 a.m. Emma saw it on her phone before she even opened her eyes. Subject: Formal Evaluation Notice. Sender: Hospital Compliance and Child Welfare Review. Her heart began to pound. She sat up slowly, careful not to wake Lily, who slept peacefully beside Buddy in the hospital bed. The dog lay curled against the mattress, one paw resting gently on Lily's blanket, his breathing slow but alert. Emma read the email once, then again, then a third time. They wanted to conduct a full welfare evaluation, not of Lily, of Buddy. Daniel arrived 20 minutes later, hair still damp from the shower, phone pressed tightly to his ear as he read the message. "They're not saying it outright," he said, voice tight, "but they're implying it." Emma nodded. "They're asking whether we're relying on a dog instead of medicine." Daniel looked at Buddy, then at Lily, then back at the phone. "That dog is medicine," he said quietly. The evaluation took place in a small conference room. Emma and Daniel sat side by side. Buddy lay at their feet. Across from them were two professionals, a child welfare specialist and a behavioral veterinarian. "We're here to assess whether Buddy's presence is in Lily's best interest," the specialist said. Emma leaned forward. "He already proved that." "We understand that," the woman replied, "but we need to determine if this is sustainable." The veterinarian spoke next. "Buddy shows signs of hypervigilance. That can be dangerous if left unchecked." Emma's voice cracked. "So can ignoring warnings." Slowly, he moved closer to Lily's bed and sat, his back straight, his eyes fixed on Karen. A quiet challenge. Lily stirred. Her eyes opened, unfocused at first. "Buddy?" she whispered. Buddy turned instantly. She reached out, her small fingers brushing his fur. "He didn't let me go," Lily murmured. "He was scared." Karen froze. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" she asked gently. Lily frowned, searching for words. "He knew something was wrong with me. He kept saying no." Buddy's tail moved once. Slow, controlled. Daniel swallowed hard. Karen exchanged a glance with Dr. Weber. "We're not saying Buddy can't visit," Karen said, "but we believe he shouldn't stay overnight." Emma felt the room tilt. "No," she said immediately. "Absolutely not." Dr. Weber cleared his throat. "Children with cardiac conditions require minimal stimulation." Emma stepped forward. "He's the only reason she's alive." Karen's voice softened. "Mrs. Callahan, we're asking you to trust the medical process." Emma's voice broke. "I trusted it. It failed. Buddy didn't." An hour later, a security officer arrived. Not aggressive, just official. Buddy sensed it immediately. He stood again, placing himself between Lily's bed and the door. "Buddy," Emma whispered. "It's okay." But it wasn't. The officer hesitated. "Ma'am, we just need the dog to step outside." Buddy didn't growl, didn't bark. He simply refused to move. The room filled with tension so thick it felt physical. Then Lily cried out. Her monitor spiked. Alarms sounded. The officer stepped back instantly. Doctors rushed in. Buddy didn't move. He stayed, watching. As doctors worked, Lily's oxygen dipped again. Buddy barked once. Sharp. The doctor turned. "What was that?" Another nurse whispered. "That's exactly when it dropped yesterday." The doctor looked at the monitor, then at Buddy, then back at the screen. "Step back," she said to the officer. "Now." The officer obeyed. Karen's face went pale. Karen stepped into the hallway and made a call. Her voice was low, urgent. When she returned, her posture had changed. "We're suspending the removal request," she said quietly. "Effective immediately." Emma collapsed into the chair, shaking. Daniel closed his eyes. Buddy sat. Finally. Later that night, Dr. Weber returned alone. "I was wrong," he admitted. "This isn't emotional attachment." Emma looked up. "It's pattern recognition," he continued. "Buddy is detecting physiological changes before our equipment." Daniel let out a long breath. "So what now?" Dr. Weber hesitated. "Now, we document everything." Buddy lifted his head again, as if he knew the next fight was coming. The welfare specialist folded her hands. "If we determine Buddy is not suitable," she said gently, "would you be willing to separate him from Lily?" The room went silent. Emma couldn't breathe. Daniel's jaw clenched. Buddy lifted his head. Slowly, Deliberately. Emma shook her head before the words even formed. "No," she whispered. The specialist looked surprised. "Mrs. Callahan." "No," Emma repeated, stronger this time. "You're asking me to choose between my child and the reason she's alive," the veterinarian interjected. "We're asking you to trust the system." Emma laughed through tears. The system didn't wake up that morning, Buddy did. After a long pause, the veterinarian spoke again. "There may be another option." Emma's heart skipped. "We can recommend Buddy for provisional medical alert certification," he said. "Under strict monitoring." Daniel leaned forward. "What does that mean?" "It means," the veterinarian said carefully, "Buddy stays, but only if he passes a controlled separation test." Emma's blood ran cold. "What kind of test?" The man hesitated. "We observe Lily without Buddy present, briefly, under supervision." "No," Emma said immediately. "Absolutely not. It's the only way," the specialist said softly. Buddy stood. He walked over to Lily's side and sat, as if drawing the line himself. They agreed to a compromise, 5 minutes. Buddy would be in the hallway, doctors, nurses, monitors. Everything else would remain. Emma's entire body shook as Buddy was gently led outside. The door closed. The clock started. Lily slept. 1 minute, 2, 3. Buddy barked in the hallway. Once, then twice. Emma's chest tightened. At minute 4, Lily's breathing changed. Subtle, almost invisible. Buddy barked again, this time louder. The monitor dipped. Alarms screamed. "Get him back!" Emma shouted. The door flew open. Buddy rushed in. He leapt onto the bed, not touching Lily, just close enough. Lily gasped. A sharp inhale, then another. The room erupted into controlled chaos. Doctors stabilized her quickly, and then silence. No one spoke. The welfare specialist stared at the monitor, pale. The veterinarian slowly removed his glasses. "There is no debate anymore," he said quietly. Emma collapsed into Daniel's arms. Buddy stayed exactly where he was, watching Lily breathe. That afternoon the paperwork was signed. Buddy was certified on the spot, not as a pet, not as an exception, but as a medical alert guardian. The specialist approached Emma one last time. "You were right to trust him," she said. "Most people wouldn't have." Emma looked at Buddy. "He didn't give us a choice," she replied. "He gave us time." For the first time in weeks, Buddy slept. Not the light, half-awake rest he'd been trapped in since Lily collapsed that morning, but a deep, heavy sleep that pulled his body fully into the hospital floor beside her bed. Emma noticed it right away. His chest rose and fell slower now. His ears twitched less. The tension that had hardened his body for months finally loosened just a little, but even asleep, Buddy dreamed, and those dreams were not peaceful. The behavioral veterinarian returned that afternoon, not to evaluate but to explain. "I reviewed Buddy's full file," he said, closing the door behind him. "Not just adoption records, everything." Emma's heart sank. "There's more, isn't there?" The man nodded. "Buddy wasn't just abandoned. He was surrendered after a fatal incident." Daniel stiffened. "What kind of incident?" The veterinarian chose his words carefully. "A child, about Lily's age." Emma's breath caught painfully in her throat. "The family never blamed the dog publicly," he continued. "But after the child passed, Buddy began exhibiting extreme alert behaviors, barking, blocking doors, refusing separation. They couldn't cope with the reminders." Emma covered her mouth. "He tried to warn them," she whispered. "Yes," the veterinarian said softly, and no one listened. Everything suddenly made sense. Buddy wasn't afraid of school. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't overprotective. He was remembering. Every morning, Lily put on her backpack. Buddy didn't see a normal routine. He saw a child walking away, a door closing, a moment that could never be undone. Daniel's voice broke. He thought history was repeating. The veterinarian nodded, and this time he refused to fail. 3 days later, Lily was cleared to leave the hospital. She was stronger now, brighter, smiling again. The doctors adjusted her medication, but everyone knew the truth. Buddy had become part of her treatment plan. At home, Emma expected the familiar anxiety to return, but it didn't. Buddy watched Lily get dressed, watched her pack her bag, watched her sit at the table and eat breakfast. And this time, he stayed still. His tail wagged slowly, his breathing steady. Emma knelt beside him. "It's okay," she whispered. "We'll come back." Buddy looked at her, then at Lily. Then, he did something he had never done before. He lay down. They didn't drive that morning. They walked. Buddy stayed on Lily's left side the entire way, leash loose, posture calm. Parents stared. Some whispered. Others smiled when Lily knelt to hug him at the school gate. "It's okay, buddy," she said softly, pressing her forehead to his. "I'll see you later." For one terrifying second, Emma thought he might block the gate again. Instead, Buddy stepped back, sat, watched. The bell rang. Lily turned once more and waved. Buddy wagged his tail, and then he looked away. Emma found Buddy curled on Lily's bed an hour later. His body shook, not loudly, not dramatically, just quiet, contained tremors. She sat beside him and rested her hand on his back. "You did good," she whispered. Buddy exhaled deeply. For the first time since he came into their lives, Buddy wasn't guarding. He was grieving and healing. That afternoon, the school called. Emma's heart raced as she answered. "Mrs. Callahan," the principal said warmly, "Lily had a wonderful first day back." Emma laughed through tears. "She told everyone about her dog," the woman added. "She said he keeps her safe even when he's not there." Emma looked down at Buddy. He lifted his head at the sound of Lily's name, and for the first time, he wagged his tail without fear. The school auditorium was packed. Parents filled the rows of folding chairs. Teachers stood along the walls. A few reporters lingered quietly near the back, cameras lowered but ready. Emma hadn't planned for this. None of them had. But the story had spread faster than anyone expected. A dog that refused to let a child go to school, a medical emergency caught just in time, a past no one had known, and now the school wanted to honor Buddy. Buddy froze at the entrance, the echo of voices, the unfamiliar space, too many exits, too many people. Emma felt the leash tighten in her hand. "It's okay," she whispered. "We're together." Daniel crouched beside him. "You don't have to do anything. Just be here." Buddy's ears flicked. Then Lily stepped forward. She reached down, took his face gently between her hands, and pressed her forehead to his. "I'm okay now," she said softly. "You did your job." Buddy's breathing slowed, and he walked in. When they reached the front, the principal took the microphone. "Today," she began, "we're not honoring obedience or training or rules." She looked at Buddy. "We're honoring love." The room went silent. She told the story, not with drama, but with respect. How Buddy noticed what no adult saw. How he refused to obey when obedience would have meant loss. How he chose a child over comfort. Some parents cried openly. Others held their children a little closer. And Buddy sat perfectly still the entire time. Then Lily was invited to speak. She stood on the small stage, feet barely touching the floor, gripping the microphone with both hands. "I used to think Buddy didn't want me to go to school," she said. Her voice trembled, but she didn't stop. "But now I know he was scared." She turned and looked at him. "He thought if I left I wouldn't come back." The room shattered into quiet sobs. Lily smiled gently. "But I always come back." When the applause faded, something unexpected happened. A teacher opened the side door. Children poured in. Lily's classmates, laughing, talking, running. It was chaos. Emma's heart jumped. She felt Buddy tense. This was it, the moment everyone feared. But Buddy didn't move. He watched Lily step off the stage, watched her disappear briefly into the crowd of children, and then he did something no one expected. He lay down, head on his paws, calm, still. He stayed. The behavioral veterinarian leaned close to Emma. "He's letting go," he whispered. "Not of her, of the fear." Emma's eyes burned. Buddy had finally learned something new, not how to protect, but how to trust. That evening, Lily fell asleep quickly. No fear, no restlessness. Buddy lay at the foot of her bed, not guarding the door, not watching the window, just resting. Emma checked on him before turning off the light. "You're safe now too," she whispered. Buddy lifted his head, looked at Lily, then closed his eyes. Some dogs are trained to protect. Some are born with instincts, but a few carry memories. And those dogs don't just guard bodies. They guard moments, goodbyes, last chances. Buddy had once failed to save a child, so when Lily entered his life, he refused to fail again. Lily went to school every day after that. Buddy walked her to the gate, sat, watched, and every afternoon, when she ran back into his arms, he wagged his tail, because this time, he knew she would return. This story touched millions of hearts. Did it touch yours? Like, if you believe animals feel more than we realize, comment where you're watching from, subscribe for more powerful stories of loyalty, courage, and love that stay with you long after the video ends, because some heroes don't bark to be heard. They bark to save a life.